Welcome to the ExperienceMore Tour. My name is Marshall. I am the facilitator of the GORE-TEX ExperienceMore Tour. And what we do is we bring in guests who have a lot of knowledge in the outdoor industry, and we have a conversation. And today we're going to be chatting about Arc'teryx and GORE-TEX Pro offerings within Arc'teryx. Arc'teryx is the biggest consumer of GORE-TEX Pro laminates by far, and they really leverage these technologies in interesting ways. And so to dive in with that, we're going to bring up Aaron Long, calling in from Portland, who's been with Arc'teryx for, boy, Aaron, how long have you been with Arc'teryx now?
11 years. Last week was my 11-year anniversary.
That's awesome. And how did you get your start at Arc'teryx?
Yeah, I kind of grew up working in outdoor and specialty retail and in climbing shops in Colorado, and then made it out to Oregon and started working at an REI store, and then kind of worked my way through, networked with a rep back in the day, and kind of helped open up our brand store in Portland. And yeah, I've done a handful of different roles from community marketing and sales associate jobs and training jobs and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. So yeah,
And so currently you work in a wholesale channel, right? Meaning folks who
I
work
do.
in
Yeah, and I
retail.
manage all of our like brand product education that goes out to like our wholesale, sales support staff as well as like sales associates for the people that are on this audience.
What would you say is the coolest thing about your job at this moment?
Oh boy, I And after this call, I'm going to go into our footwear design center. That's where my like desk is, and that's a relatively new office for us. I've worked, out of Portland for a long time and been mostly remote for, the last 6 years probably. And to have an office space and then a design center, that's pretty special, man. It's really cool to see like how it starts from an idea, and it starts from like athletic muses and at like a athletic request, and then it starts like this ideation board, and then how like the whole idea goes to become a product and the development. It's really cool to um see that up close, like especially after being with the brand for like 11 years. And like I've been up to our design center in Vancouver, but to like be able to walk in there and be like my
Yeah.
desk is just above this floor, and then walk in and talk to the people who are actually like literally designing the shoes, like that's like fanboy stuff. That's
It
still
is.
really cool, man, like so
It's kind
yeah,
of cool to have the keys to the Willy Wonka factory, right? And every
it
time you walk
is.
in,
Yeah.
there's like, well, what's that? Right? And like
Yeah,
every
you
time
can
I
ask stuff, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that'll be out in like 2027." Like, you're like, that's cool. Like, it might not come to market, but it's cool to see. Like, that's how the ideas get started. That's
Yeah, all
how.
the more fun to see those
Yeah,
prototypes and those ideas flowing, right? And
yeah,
and watch how it gets made. That's pretty cool. And neat that that design center now is in your backyard. You have access
yeah,
to it.
yeah.
Well, let's focus in on Gore-Tex Pro today, as that is really getting this update this year, and your brand Arc'teryx is massively leveraging this technology. In fact, they were very integral in the development of the EPE version of the next gen Gore-Tex Pro, and setting some of the standards that we really needed to meet. And so I'm really excited to see how Arc'teryx is taking that and pushing it out to the world. So, Aaron, let's begin with a slight overview of Gore-Tex Pro, and I'll talk about it a bit, but maybe feel free to chime in as I start talking about what's new in next gen Gore-Tex Pro. So with that, right, the idea here is we needed to at Gore-Tex develop, or we need to continue to develop products for folks going into more extreme places for longer periods of time. And back in like the late 90s, we developed XCR with Arc'teryx as they were pushing us like, yeah, your Gore-Tex is great, but it's not good enough for our athletes. And so there was this idea of developing this pinnacle level of Gore-Tex from a ruggedness standpoint. And those athletes have continued to push harder and go further and do more things. We've had to evolve next gen or Gore-Tex Pro into being something that can really keep up with them. And Arc'teryx has pushed us a lot on that. So really, it is for like professionals and for athletes who are just really getting out there into absolutely extreme environments, potentially for extended periods of time. So I think guides, absolutely right. Think these pinnacle athletes, but also think about like me getting out there maybe and really for a long day of backcountry skiing where I'm way out there, right? So I need product that's going to work for me, and that's what Gore-Tex Pro falls in. So what that means and what we've learned from working with, Arc'teryx athletes and our own is that they just continually demand this increased level of ruggedness to on top of the core benefits that Gore-Tex offers. So what is ruggedness, right? Ruggedness is like are those acute stressors that happen in the now. You're out there, you're gonna maybe the ice climber like this gentleman here, you hang your ice tool over your shoulder as you place an ice screw, right? That's an acute stressor. It's something quite sharp hitting your shoulder, or maybe you're in a chimney like this as well, and really just that one movement, either on the inside of the jacket or your harness, or either on the outside or your harness on the inside, like rubbing on the interior. And so it needs to be able to take these really hard stresses that happen when we're out in the field like this. And so we test these products to the highest level of ruggedness, and we've come up with suites of tests to really test into that based on a relationship with athletes, based on a relationship with brands like Arc'teryx. As they show us some of the failures that happen and how can we repeat those in the lab and then test into that. On top of that, and this is a big deal, is we're leveraging in prioritizing environmental impact in next gen Gore-Tex Pro. So not only are we testing it to a higher level of ruggedness, we're holding it to a higher level of environmental standard, meaning PFAS free, meaning recycled content, meaning solution diet or dope diet, as Arc'teryx calls it, right? And all of that lowering the CO2 impact of these products. So it's kind of this double-edged sword as we move into this next gen Gore-Tex Pro of being extremely rugged and prioritizing environmental impact. So that's really where we stand with this next level, but there's more to it, and we're going to see that as we move into it, and how Arc'teryx is leveraging some of these additional benefits of next gen Gore-Tex Pro. But Aaron, right, like in your mind, like why does Arc'teryx use so much pro in so many categories?
Yeah, I mean, we do have it in a lot of categories. I mean, we probably make more different pro jackets than anybody else out there.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it's the kind of people we specialize making equipment for. And we've always kind of had this idea of we're making equipment for people at the top of the mountain, whether it's, those professionals like those guides, those um, ski guides, outdoor professionals, search and rescue teams, or it's just people who are out there, you know, playing or getting after it in the mountains. But that kind of creating it for extreme need. It really starts there, and when you get into like kind of what I guess like the Gore family tree or where it shows up within our family, like Gore Pro, it kind of really started with our professional line, and it started really solving that material for the new patrol jackets and the new, those jackets for that professional line. And then it trickles into each category of trail climb and snow. And these are jackets that the general consumer is a lot more familiar with. Beta AR, for a long time, that's been our most popular jacket. That's been like kind of that first like do it all workhorse Gore-Tex Pro jacket. We've had it in the family since 2012.
Mhm.
Super versatile. We'll talk about that later. And when you get into the climbing jackets, we've known for that Alpha SV jacket, and kind of the Alpha family. And Alpha is, it's not the best. It's what our name is for climb, alpine climbing, mountaineering, ice climbing, even some, rock climbing stuff is going to trickle into that Alpha cat family. And then when you hit into snow, you find Gore Pro within our Rush family, which is designed for alpine touring, backcountry ski touring. And then you're finding it, and you've found it in the past in like some of these more like pinnacle free riding pieces. And this season, a cooler, exciting evolution of that or a silhouette is that Saber SV, and we'll talk about that as well. So those are kind of the families and where it shows up, but it's kind of there's a pro kind of in each level of
Mhm.
that, because there is a need within each one of those objectives, whether it's, just being out there in the mountains, on the trail, or climbing or skiing. So
Yeah, it's neat to see how you take each of these categories, right? And like within the trail, there's the beta jacket, there's the beta SL, the beta LT, but then there is the beta AR, which is for folks who are really, getting out there on longer trail expeditions, maybe, getting into that mountaineering side of things as well. And so
Yeah, I
that's,
mean, yeah,
yeah,
I could have made like another grid on top of each of trail climb and snow, and you could have
yeah,
seen like nine different jackets of like different,
it's crazy.
you know, te like niche versions of a climbing jacket, but we don't have enough time for that. So yeah, the Beta AR, let's start with that one.
Yeah, let's dive in. So what really is what in your mind, and there's lots of different ways to think this, what is the like the muse or the perfect in use case for the Beta AR?
Yeah, the Beta family is all mountain jackets, so they're kind of designed for being the most versatile Gore-Tex jacket that we have. And so within the Beta family, you've got something that's super lightweight, uh, and packable, or you can get something that's very durable and kind of for that top of the end of the mountain. And so there's kind of a beta in there for everybody.
Hmm.
When you talk about beta AR, AR stands for all around. And if it's beta is an all around jacket and AR, I always joke it's the all around, all around. It's kind of that Goldilocks jacket. It's a jacket that you can use for all four seasons, relatively packable. The men's is right around a pound. It's got that helmet compatible hood, reinforced shoulder yokes, plenty of pocketing, designed to fit really well, with a climbing harness or a backpack if you need. And it's just kind of this like really just do everything jacket. And it's been super popular for that reason.
Yeah, it really is, and it's neat to see how it's pro and it's one of your best selling jackets, right? Like it's crazy how the need for something so versatile yet so bomb proof exists in the outdoor industry. You brought us a little video to give us a primer into it from one of the folks that helped design this. So let's take a look at that. And what I love is to take a look at these videos and then have you comment afterwards on what you notice as somebody who was probably standing in the room when this was shot, right? So, yeah, let's watch it and have you give us some insight.
This is the Beta AR jacket. It offers pro level protection for any mountain objective. The Beta AR is an extremely feature-rich Beta in the family. Our hood, yoke, and upper arms use our most durable 100D GORE-TEX Pro EPE laminate, and then the body uses our 80D EPE GORE-TEX Pro laminate for a nice hybridization that mixes lightweight and ruggedness. It's gonna stand up to the most demanding mountain environments. You get it in a drop hood. It has a Reco reflector and 3-point cord adjust, pit zips for easily dumping heat, watertight YKK zippers, harness and pack compatible hand pockets, dual point cord adjusters at the hem, glove friendly Velcro cuff adjusters for a snug fit, and it's got that signature internal laminated security pocket. It's our do-it-all Beta shell that is the most feature-rich and also offers that pro-level protection for any mountain objective.
Okay, let's cut.
He can be a world-class designer, but it's still scary when you get on camera sometimes, but he crushed
Yeah,
it.
you can get sweaty for sure.
Yeah, what did you notice looking at that? Like, what are some of the things you would like to reinforce for us if, out there who are selling it to customers, how we would maybe pass that on?
Yeah, I mean, the Beta AR has been like it's super popular for kind of all the right reasons. It's an easy jacket for, somebody to if they're not really sure what hard shell they want from Arc'teryx, like that's gonna pretty much cover all of the bases. That's kind of what I love about it. When I was first like on the sales floor, it was a really easy jacket to just steer somebody into, take a look at this. Do you want something heavier? We could go heavier. We could go more niche and get more climb with it. We could get something lighter weight and packable, but this jacket's going to do everything.
Yeah.
The cool thing with EPE is like this jacket, we always pitched this jacket. It was like a hybrid jacket because it uses heavy fabric in the shoulder. It was at 80 in the shoulder and it was 40 in the body for as like long as I remember. And this season, because of EPE, it's updated to 100D. It's the same material as the Alpha SV on the shoulder, and then it's a 80D in the body. And so that still hovers right around 16 ounces or a pound. And so you don't have any weight sacrifice and you've got a more durable, like more substantial jacket. I'm stoked about that. Like, I think that's a really cool improvement. And, all of the EPE that, we've talked and trained on before and all the benefits behind that. And yeah, it's a cool jacket for sure.
Right? So increased durability, increased ruggedness is what you were shooting for here, right? You took that weight savings from the thinner, lighter EPE and offset that into increased durability to make this thing last longer, right? To give it more longevity so that when folks buy it, they can use it for years and years and years and years and years, as long as they wash it and dry it, as we've covered on this network many times. They just need to wash it and dry it frequently, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, easy to
There's
take
one
care.
there's one detail that I think got glanced over in the video that I'd like you to talk on, and this is kind of an Arc'teryx broad detail, but I just think it's so cool. Is the zippers for the pockets? There's no zipper garage anymore on this product, right? But yet it's still watertight. If anybody's tried to futz with getting that zipper up underneath the little flap, especially when you have gloves on, it's just such a cool little Arc'teryx innovation that it was new, years ago, but I still want to point that out that is such a cool
Yeah,
feature.
our Arc'teryx zipper technology is always like that's always something that like leaps forward a little bit here and
Yeah.
there. We've always had like some interesting story, from the Sidewinder, like sideways zipper to the first urethane watertight zipper that Mike Blankhorn designed. You're referring to those front pocket zippers, and for the longest time, all of our jackets had zipper garages that covered up that head of that zipper so that no water would trickle in and get into your pocket and just soak everything that's inside the pocket, including yourself. And so, for years and years, I remember our designers would like tweak and find out a way to minimize the zipper garage. And they'd be like, we got 2 grams off the zipper garage this season, like 4 grams off of it. Like
Hey,
we
it
did
adds
one
up.
piece off of it, like, or it's one production step off of it. And so they were trying to like fiddle and figure out how they could get rid of that zipper garage and clean it up. And yeah, Mike was they couldn't really create a solve. And Renata, she was a merchant at the time. She walked by the design floor and she suggested just taking a Dremel tool and recessing the zipper a little bit and drilling it up so that the zipper would hold up totally flush up to the end of that zipper. And yeah, sure enough, like that helped seal up that zipper tight enough where it met the specs to be a watertight zipper. And so that's called a RS zipper slider or a recessed zipper slider, but internally we've always called it the Renata Special, because that was kind of a nod to her design kind of thoughts for that. So yeah, kind of a cool little story and super cool like way to cut down all of that extra fabric and the extra steps of making that jacket, and yeah, it makes it really clean aesthetic. So just always what we're shooting for.
It is a really cool thing. I think it's a cool thing to point out to a customer as just a small differentiator, right? It's not the reason to buy the jacket, but it's just a cool thing to be proud of.
Yeah,
And it just makes it that much more functional as an all-around piece.
yeah,
Um,
totally.
we've got a question here about the different lengths of this versus the rush, and maybe we'll address that when we get into the rush, but I just want to hold that to make sure we get back to that as we get into it.
Yeah, we
But
can pull up some of
talk
that.
about the intentional length of this, about where is it supposed to sit? What's the thought process there?
Yeah, it should fit like right around your like hips pretty much. It's gonna fit where you're gonna be able to have a climbing harness sit under or like over it, and it's not gonna kind of come up and over. And you'll be able to have a hip belt or a backpack snug underneath it without it being without that um that bottom hem pulling up.
Yep.
And yeah, it's going to fit generally between the user's like hips and thighs. It's a hip length jacket. It's going to
Okay.
be a little bit of a drop hem in the back, so it's going to have a little bit more length in the back to it than the front. And yeah, the rush is going to be a longer jacket, but the rush needs more coverage for ski. And so yeah, the
There you go.
Beta AR is going to have a little bit more coverage than some of those like Beta jacket or a Beta SL jacket. Those like trimmer, lighter weight jackets are typically going to have maybe less material or less coverage. So
That's good to know too, right? If somebody is trying on like a beta AR, they do think it's too long. Well, you could switch them to a beta jacket, which is going to be a little bit higher up, right? You lose the
yeah.
pro and all that, but it still would function.
Well, and it's preference of like where
Yeah.
you want it to fit and how it fits on your specific body. Like everybody's height's different, but everybody's torso length is different too. So yeah, got to
Yeah, and then Douglas
find
asked, backpack belt on top of jacket. Is that the design?
correct. Yep.
Yeah. Um, uh, And then we have another question here, comparing the regular beta and the beta AR, saying that this felt really stiff for normal wear around the city, and that's that armor-like feel that Gore-Tex Pro does lend, right? And part of that is based on this like bomb-proof 80D fabric. Here is the fabric from the beta AR that we had a photo of it taken underneath electron microscope, and you can just see how organized and how like dense the fibers are in this face fabric. There is
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
opportunity for these fibers to pick over time, as there's just not a lot of space. There's not a lot of space for water to hide between these fibers, which also means that it's going to have lower water pickup based on this weave. Also, it's very monolithic, meaning the DWRs are going to adhere tighter to this than anything that you're going to see with more an open structure. So this is just an absolutely bomb-proof face fabric, but it does lend itself to a more armor-like feel, right? And
Yeah.
what's the intentionality around that?
Yeah, we want it to be durable. We want you to be protected in the top of the mountain. It's not a city jacket. It's not a rain jacket. It's a hard shell. It's a helmet compatible hood, so it's designed to go up in the mountains where you've got ice axes and crampons and ski edges and split board edges, and it needs to be durable enough for you to be protected during that. So
Mhm.
that's the idea of that. And the Gore Pro lends itself to some stiffness too because it has that woven backer to add more durability and better longevity. If we wanted this jacket to be lighter and more packable and more of something you could just toss in a bag, we would probably use Gore-Tex CNet, which is a very loose like knit backer, and it allows us to use a little bit lighter face fabrics. But that's not the consumer. That's not who we're designing this jacket for, and we want it to have that increased durability. That stiffness is, ironically, when we've switched over to the Gore EPE and we were getting some of those like 40D face fabrics, like our designers were feeling it and they felt like it was too light. Like people would test the jackets and they'd be like, well, it seems like Arc'teryx is a little cheapened up because they equate like a lighter material with cheaper. We all know that's not necessarily true. We have some like super bomber materials that's like 20D that we're going to talk about at the end of this deck, but it's like that feel, that stiffness, that's all subjective. Like some people really like that, some people don't, but the design intent is for it to be an all-around mountain jacket.
Yeah, and so if somebody were shying away from this, where would you maybe suggest as a sales associate to send them, right? They like the beta AR, but they wanted something a little more supple.
Yeah, if you want like the feature rich aspect of it, if you need that helmet compatible hood and you want underarm vents, the Beta SL jacket,
Mhm.
that Beta super light. And if you like that kind of that durable material, but you want something to drape lighter and then you want a lighter like silhouette, a Beta jacket is just going to be an all-around jacket. Beta jacket does not have a helmet compatible hood. It's just a rain jacket, no pit zips on it, and it's an 80D with a Gore-Tex CNet backer. So it's going to have a little bit
Yeah.
lighter, more drapey, supple, softer feel on the back.
Right. So lots of cool options and like, yeah, and don't shy away from that armor like feel. That is a bonus for a lot of people for sure. But for
Yeah,
some people, they're just like, I don't love it, right? And that's great. There's other options, and we can go that route. So,
yeah.
well, let's shift gears for then thinking about snow application and moving
Yes.
into what the season is right now, or
Yeah,
getting started
let's
to
talk
be.
about ski and snow.
Yeah, please do.
Um, Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah, when we were putting together this deck, we were starting, we were talking about, hey, like let's feature Gore Pro product, and man, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and it was exciting because it's the stuff that you and I like to geek out about, and Beta AR is like kind of the everyman Gore Pro jacket. You can do anything with it, but now the rest of these jackets are going to be a little more niche. They're going to be a little bit more category specific. Um, and this next jacket we're going to talk about is the Rush jacket. The Rush has been around the family for quite a long time, and it is kind of stands for that backcountry touring jacket. It's always featured Gore-Tex Pro. It has that color blocking silhouette that it's kind of known for at this point.
Hmm.
And yeah, just a super cool jacket. I love the updates this season. I love that the women's jacket, the old Shashka jacket, is finally merged in, and they're both the Rush jackets. They're both featured in Gore Pro,
Hmm.
which has been an athlete and customer request for year after year. So yeah, fantastic jacket, both genders. Let's pull that video up and have a designer chat about it and go from
Do it.
there.
Yeah.
This is the Rush jacket. It is the ski touring jacket designed for self-propelled adventures and efficiency for the ascent. It has all the durability that you need for the downhill. It's your backcountry go-to. So across the board, we looked at fit for both men's and women's, reducing our length, better for uphill movement, and also great for layering. And then we opened up the fit throughout the body, looking at the waist and the hem for a straighter ski fit, really to give a full range of motion with really easy layering options. Working with our athletes, they had asked for more storage when they're out in the backcountry. So each rush, both men's and women's, have 2 exposed chest pockets and 2 exposed hand pockets for all ample storage that you need. And then we've also done a lot of work to expand the width of our dump pockets on the interior. So you have super easy storage, both externally and internally. This is our new 80D GORE-TEX Pro EPE, new to the Rush family for fall 25. It's much lighter weight due to the new EP membrane with that same 80D durability we know and love. Great for protection for all descents. The Rush is awesome. Really excited for this season. It has our new EP membrane with that same durability, our updated storage solutions, and amazing fit updates as well. It really delivers lightweight protection for all backcountry adventures.
Yeah, so Aaron, talk to me a little bit about the pocket configuration, just so we can understand the idea here. The Beta AR had the 2 hand pockets. What does the
Yeah,
Rush get?
this has got a lot of storage. It's got the hand pockets and then it's got the two the Napoleon pocket, right?
Yeah.
So those chest pockets allow you access to, stuff if you're on a lift, it's easy to get in and out of it, easy one-handed. So, it comes from a lot of our climbing jackets where you were maybe hanging in a belay or had one hand on a rope and you need to get in and out of a pocket. But yeah, easy to get in and out of with one hand, kind of elevates things up out of the way. And easy, like if you're touring too, you have like a little bit more storage so you can get your chapstick or maybe a snack without having to, drop your bag and you can keep moving a little quicker. And then
Yeah,
inside they've increased the pocketing and added that big dump pocket. So you've got the ability to store, big fat skins if you need to. It did really well with skins, but if you had like big powder skis, sometimes you'd have to just store it in your jacket. This should have a little bit better, storage for you.
right, which is nice for some times when you want to thaw your skins, get the ice off of the the glue, right? The adhesive to be able to put it inside does help as a feature for that.
Yeah, if I'm just doing like quick yo-yo laps, I don't want to like throw everything in my backpack right off the bat. I might just store it in my jacket and then like kind of move in. So yeah, it just depends on how you like to move in the backcountry. But it's a sick jacket, that Gore Pro. I love that like the shoulder yoking. Got some fun bold colors as well as a couple of neutrals this season, both in the men's and the ladies jackets. Um, yeah, great backcountry jacket for sure. And you could totally use it as a resort jacket. Either one. Don't be fine in either or.
Yeah, so this utilizes that same bomb-proof ADD that the Beta AR is using through the body. It just gets that ADD all throughout, right? Meaning that it's going to be really breathable, meaning that it's going to work for the ascent and the descent, which is, I think, the purpose here, and also very packable,
Yeah.
which is part of the goal here, so that you always bring it with you.
Yeah. And I see a question. The Saber jacket does have a powder skirt. The Rush does not have a powder skirt.
Cool. Yeah, I think for backcountry touring, right, a powder skirt is not always necessary because you're usually wearing a bib or a salopette, so no need,
Yeah.
and might as well save on the weight and open the breathability, right? A powder skirt's a zone that has a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. typically won't find it in like the backcountry pieces where we want them to be really lightweight. You may be wearing a harness, you have a backpack. It just kind of really cuts down on the extra materials. And then if you have like a relaxed silhouette from us, you're probably not going to find a powder skirt because it just doesn't really integrate very well. And you typically you'd be again using a bib or a high waist pant. So
So this is the beast for like the human powered, right? The pinnacle piece that's just going to take you for years and years of backcountry touring. But for machine powered and really for folks picking like the biggest lines, there's another piece here which is pretty unique. Actually, I've not
yeah.
seen anything like this.
I remember seeing this in the sales meeting and I was like, oh, that's super cool. And then I forgot about it. And then when I was in the Arc'teryx store a couple weeks ago before we put this slide deck together, and I was super excited about this. Like the material is very, very cool.
Right. So rather than shooting for ultra lightweight, you just went for just like bomb proof on this. So tell us a little bit about the philosophy around the Saber SV. And first of all, what does SV stand for in the Arc'teryx nomenclature?
Yeah, SV is severe weather. So, coming from that alpha SV where you want the most severe, most durable, most rugged, like worst weather protection. If it's insulated, maybe it's the warmest or something, but definitely like for severe weather. And so, yeah, we've had Saber SV in the family for a couple of seasons now. And this season we kicked it up like in a big way, and it gets that 200D Gore EPE canvas, which has got a really cool, nice, soft hand feel. And then it's got the Gore Pro backer. So it's just a super durable jacket, a little more relaxed fit. So it's got, a lot of coverage on it. It's got those two hand pockets, that one chest pocket, a pass pocket, some fun color blocking. This is a little teaser for something that's coming out in a later drop, as well as a few other colors in later drops too that I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, that's Saber SV, and that's going to be like, yeah, you know, if you're skiing hard, skiing in the trees, getting on jumps, a lot of helicopter access, cat access, you're not really carrying it everywhere. Like this is a
Yep.
sweet jacket for sure. I have a Saber Relaxed jacket from last season that features that 200D canvas, and it's really nice. I really like it. It feels soft and like bomb-proof durability at the same time.
Right. So that's another option in the ski, right? More machine powered, like you mentioned, and something that just you can just confidently use, right? And it's just got this style element too as well that is pretty cool. Whether you wear it long like that or whether you do the tuck with it, it gives some options with that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
um,
Shane asks about the sizing on this. Like,
mhm.
I'm typically a medium in this jacket, and man, like, I could downsize, but I don't think I would downsize. In a previous silhouette, I downsized, and like after I threw my layers on, it was kind of tight in my arms. So I think like sticking with your size is probably a good place to start, but that being said, like size is objective and how you're gonna wear it. You might like, yeah, Douglas says size for the layers. I think having a relaxed fit. I've been rocking that relaxed Saber and having the extra wiggle room and like being able to throw a puffy on it's pretty nice. I used to be a trim cut fabric guy all the way, but maybe my maybe I'm starting to change my ways.
Well, I think it's different intended end uses, right? Where that rush jacket, you would want a more trim cut. Trim is
Yes,
going to be more
100%.
breathable.
You don't want all that material when you're like climbing a
Yeah.
mountain.
Well, and it's more breathable to have it closer to the skin or closer to your body, whereas this
Sure.
is intended to be relaxed fit. So it's fit. So if you
Yeah.
size down to get that trim fit out of it, it just could be awkward.
Yeah.
So that really is the
Yeah. But
intentionality here.
very, very cool jacket. That Saber SV is one
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
definitely
cool.
excited about. Between the
Yeah.
Rush and the Saber SV, you cannot go wrong. Like you have two very, very great options in Gore Pro from us this winter.
Yeah, definitely that unicorn piece, really just nichey and interesting, right? And cool that you're just leveraging the Gore-Tex Pro in this way for this
Yeah.
one piece.
Yeah. Let's
Well,
talk about climb, huh?
yeah, let's go into climb. This is cool, right? And this is, I mean, Alpha SV, iconic, absolutely iconic. It has transcended beyond climbing now to the fashion world and to everything, right? The Alpha SV is just an absolutely iconic piece. We just celebrated the 20th anniversary of this. We're at what, 22 now, I think, 21, 22
Yep.
years of making the Alpha SV in partnership. And
Yeah.
this year it gets this update with the new EPE.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and so the EPE update, it remains at 100D. It gets that EPE membrane, and then that the PFC free DWR, and then it kind of gets just some increased storage options. So yeah, expanded new dump pockets on the inside, so you can stash your gloves or a hat. And then you get an extra security pocket kind of inside. So. Just giving you a little bit more storage in that jacket. Saber SV had just with that 20th year anniversary, just the season before, it had gotten a pretty significant update as far as some patterning adjustments and some durability and like repairability um, kind of updates. And so, yeah, it's always like kind of this little micro evolution, but Alpha SV kind of stands for that maximum durability for, for alpinism, mountaineering, ice climbing. Very, very cool jacket, and I love that Dynasty red. It's a very good color
it is
for
very
Alpine
cool. And
jacket.
I want to talk about the fabric real quick. This is a customer-owned laminate. We call this at Gore, right? So this is an exclusive Dark Terex. You helped co-develop this laminate, and you're the only ones who use this. And so here's a picture of that 100D face. If you remember when we looked at that 80D face, it looked very different than this. This has a very different warp and weft to it, right? Almost flat yarns in one direction, creating a really strong and organized pattern to hold DWR. But in the other direction, you can see this intentionality of more of a false twist, really kind of heavily false twisted yarn, which creates a much more dull luster in the garment itself. This really, when you look at this, it has that canvas like look to it, but it's still extremely strong. So the intentionality of this face fabric is really quite spectacular, right? And I'm sure it took quite some time to develop to bring it to life. But this is just it's just absolutely bomb proof, but has this super cool and soft feel to it as well. It really struck the perfect balance in my opinion. So this is the Alpha SV, right? Absolutely iconic. And speaking of silhouettes, Aaron, right? This is going to have that trim silhouette all the way, right? Tuck your harness over it, or put it over your harness. Your choice on that one.
Yeah.
So let's talk now about another piece in the Alpha, which, speaking of customer-owned laminates, right? Gets us into something I think is quite special, the Alpha jacket. Tell us a little bit about this rig.
Yeah, the Alpha jacket is rad. I feel like this is kind of slipping through like under the radar. And we were talking about this yesterday of
Yeah.
how like this is a kind of a hot rod that we're not really talking about so much. But yeah, the Alpha jacket is very cool. It features Arc'teryx and Gore like exclusive fabric package called Hadron. We developed this several seasons back. And it features, yeah, there we go. Thanks, Ben. It features that like Vectran fiber, that LCP yarn, which is that white ripstop yarn, and that increases that durability considerably. So it allows us to, really cut down on the weight and the denier of the material without sacrificing that like robust durability. And the specs on it are pretty astonishing. I know for years and years it was like a 40D, and it was as durable and abrasion resistant as like the 80D is kind of the soundbite I had always gotten. So as durable as a material, twice as thick. And then in the Alpha jacket, like this season, it uses a hybrid. If you could go back to that slide, actually, Ben, with the Alpha jacket. Thanks, dude. Yeah, so you can see in the body, it features a Gore-Tex Pro EPE 20D. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first time a Gore Pro has been featured in a fabric as light as a 20D. I think that 40D for a very long time was the lightest.
Yeah. And
Maybe
even
somebody,
that was a stretch. Even that in the last generation, we're like, all right, Arc, you can do 40D because you have a special thing. But this year
yeah,
now 40D has been wrapped into, but that is the lowest that Gore-Tex Pro gets.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
unless
It gets that like 20D Gore fabric with a that Vectran grid ripstop, and then the shoulder yoke is that 40D, so a little increased durability in that shoulder and up on that hood, and on the sleeves, and then that whole body is a really lightweight 20D, and that material that's an Arc'teryx Gore exclusive, first to market, like that's for sure. Like along with maybe a dozen other fabrics from you guys that are Arc'teryx exclusive materials. So that one that you just shared with the Alpha SV is one, and here this 20D is another one. I always get asked that question of like, hey, do you guys have any exclusive fabric technologies that you can't get anywhere else? And those were two options for you.
Yeah, this is really remarkable how it's hadron all throughout, right? Just to be clear about that, but it uses the 40D hadron through the yoke, and then the 20D, the new 20D, through the body. 25, 45. I'm not sure how exactly you say this because the Vectran is a 25D, and then the rest of it, the fill there, is 20D.
20,
So
right.
the other one is 45 and 40. And you can see the slight differences here, right? You can see the Vectran yard throughout, and then just see the slight differences of these two laminates. But this jacket comes in at 350 grams, right? So that is less than a pound for a full featured climbing, absolutely durable piece. And this is really spectacular for athletes who just need that packability. I could see this for rock climbing in really extreme environments, Great Trango Tower, things like that, where every ounce counts, but you still need the bomb proofness. This is really, when you're looking for that climbing jacket that is as light as you can get it, well, for now, this is the piece. And again, I agree with you. This is the unsung hero of this season, in my opinion. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's pretty exciting to see. And, I've talked with this climb team quite a bit, and they're pretty obsessed with like making the coolest shit. Like, they've got kind of that attitude. And so it's really fun to see them like poke around at some of these materials that are like really kind of cutting edge, and seeing like what they're doing, with that Alpha jacket, like that's, I mean, a super versatile jacket. Like I've got one from the last season before it switched over to like the Gore Pro and the 20D, and it's such a great jacket. It's such a all around kind of versatile, really lightweight. I mean, you can roll it up in its hood, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of space, and it is bomb proof.
Yeah, so that's the Alpha jacket for this season. But you're going to take it further.
Yeah.
Here's where we're going to preview something coming out for next year. Aaron, give us a little intro before we run this video.
Yeah, so a little teaser for something that's coming out in spring of 2026. We are not stopping with that. And when we were talking and looking for like cool things that feature Gore Pro, this kit is pretty darn cool. This one, this kind of showcases what we can do and how far we can take it. So yeah, this is going to be the Alpha SL kit. So let's roll this video.
This is the Alpha SL kit, the lightest, most packable GORE-TEX Pro hardshell kit on the market, built for fast and light alpinism. Hey guys, my name is Miguel. I'm joined today by climb designer Sean Bowe to talk about the Alpha SL jacket and pants. So Sean, what are we trying to solve for with the Alpha SL kit?
We're trying to solve for fast and light alpinism. We always wanted to build something that was a non-negotiable that you could put in your pack for any adventure. And now we have the new SL kit, which includes a jacket and a pant, which is that really reductive, minimalistic piece. The new Alpha SL jacket for men's weighs 230 grams, which is the lightest GORE-TEX Pro jacket Arc'teryx has ever made.
How did we achieve that? What was the material package that allowed that?
These new versions, using our new EPE Gore Pro membrane, allowed us to bring down the weight, make everything a little bit softer. It is exclusive to these products, and this is also utilizing both 20D and 50D makes an appearance in the pants as well. Utilizing both of those allows us to really build the most durable, lightweight textiles that we possibly can. We really wanted to look at how reductive we could be, and so the jacket has a single chest pocket, a helmet-compatible hood, the low-profile adjustable Velcroed cuffs, and the pant is just full side zips with a little bit of a laminated instep on the inside for cramping
crampon compatibility, ski boots, and that's basically it.
Amazing. So then when we're looking at alpine climb specifically, how did we solve for that in terms of its articulation and fit?
We wanted to make sure that it was going to fit and work with all kinds of layering systems that we were going to be utilizing out there. We are also partnered with the Pro line, specifically in the pants, and actually opened up the bottom so it would fit something like a 4-buckle ski boot.
So to sum it up, with our Hadron face fabric, we've been able to create the lightest GORE-TEX Pro hardshell kit on the market. We have a minimalist feature set that's designed for fast and light alpinism, and we have climb-specific fit and articulation designed for maximum freedom of movement.
Nailed it. We like to build tools for athletes to enable them to be on any adventure out in the mountains.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean the weight is like, what was it, like 230 grams, 280 grams, something like that.
230 grams. I looked it up, right? Because I
Yeah.
have the Norvan jacket, which is my ultralight rig that I use in the spring and the summer to bring with me. And this is only 50 grams more than that, 1.5 ounces more than the Hadron, right? But for a pro level piece, right, it is just
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so when people say we don't make ultralight gear, I'm like, you're not looking in the right places. But it's also, it's durable. It's like it's not just gonna shred. It's Gore Pro. Our Gore pieces, people rely on them. People believe very, very strongly on them. For me, it's one of the pieces that sold me on like how amazing this brand is. And when you see, okay, like we make a lot of fleeces, we make a lot of synthetic stuff. I think they're all great. They all fit me really well. The Gore-Tex jackets that we make are the best in the industry. And I do not say that lightly, and I do not talk down on other competitors, but the stuff that we make with Gore, I do think we make it the best. And yeah, that relationship is very important to us. And so when we train, when we have to change over our entire line of the stuff that we feel so that passionately about, yeah, people want to make sure that it's successful and that our name and the Gore Pro stamp is going to mean something still.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
representative of all the work that goes in, right? Yes, there were setbacks along the way, but in the end, we overcame that together, and we're able to produce something that we feel very confident about at this point.